Hi everybody, I'm going to try and go quickly through how to make a scatter plot with Google Sheets. You should have a copy of this document in front of you if you possibly can, or split your screen so you can read along with it as I talk about it. So the first thing you need to do is uh, go to Google Sheets, and you do that by finding the waffle and clicking on Sheets. And then go ahead and make yourself a new spreadsheet, and I'll take a minute and this should pop up. In addition, you should also have a copy of the data that I gave you. It's already set for you. These are just team numbers that don't mean anything for us, for the graph for you. You should have 4 columns worth of data. First column is volume of aluminum in milliliters. The second column is mass of aluminum in grams. Column D is volume of iron in milliliters. E is mass of iron in grams. As I mentioned, these extra zeros are added in there on purpose to try and help convince the trend line to get closer to the origin, which is something it doesn't want to do. So the first step on your paper says to enter your data. That's already been done for you. The second step says to click on the number 1, and then in view you can freeze that one row so it doesn't move around and shift and stuff. Okay, those are your titles. The next thing you would do is click and highlight 2 columns of data, including the titles. And so if you click on one box and scroll, oops, and let's make sure there it isn't, good. And then scroll to, go ahead and do to line 16, scroll here. You'll have the aluminum volume and mass data. Do Command Copy. Once you've got it highlighted, go to your new spreadsheet and transfer the data there. You can change the width of the columns if you like. It doesn't really affect your chart. Okay. Once you have those 2 columns in place, you can then simply click on Insert, click on Chart. It might take it a second, but it'll pop up with a chart. Sometimes it doesn't come up with a scatter plot right away. This time it did, so we're golden. If it comes up with a bar graph or some other weird looking thing, you would just click on this box in the chart editor and click on scatter, which it already has. A couple things I just want to show you about the editor. You can close it. You can move your graph around. However, sometimes you might decide, like looking at this one, I want to fix my axes. So what you would do for that is double click, and then the chart editor comes back up again. Style is fine. Title and axis, let's see, it's got mass of aluminum in grams versus volume of aluminum in milliliters. That's pretty good, but I'm going to put in relationship between mass in grams, and you might even want to put even more specific aluminum nails. Okay. The next thing, these are good. The labels are good. They've got the names and the units, so we're all set there because we put them in there. If you click on this, it goes away. We don't need series. We don't need a legend. If you go to horizontal axis, you can see if you want to do anything here. You can change the font. I don't see any point in doing that. So that is all fine. However, I might want to make Well, this one actually fits really nicely. If you had a data point right at the edge, you might want to set your minimum and maximum to different numbers, but I think it's okay. Slant the labels, meh, I don't know. I don't think we need to. I like it like this, and I think that is just fine. So then the next thing we're going to do is scroll back up, close this, look at the vertical axis. I actually would like to set this a little touch bigger, from 0 to 6.0. Okay, and that, there it is. That just gives me a little more room. I'm not really sure what just happened, why that's looking like that, but we'll just keep moving on and maybe it'll fix itself. Grid lines and tick marks. Well, actually, I'm going to do this and this. Okay, and go back to the vertical axis. Sorry, one more thing. Here we go. 0 to 6. I did the wrong axis, huh? So I need to do the horizontal axis. So this should be 0 to 15.00. There we go. And then horizontal axis is the one I want from 0 to 6. My bad. 0, 6.0. There we go. Okay. Now you'll notice that, wow, we got hardly any lines on there. If we wanted to try and interpret, read some other possibilities, it's not going to work very well. So I'm going to go ahead and go down to the very last category, grid lines and ticks, and scroll it up. So on the vertical axis, that's the y-axis, under steps, I'm going to make it, every major step is 5, and 10 minor steps. This will make it look more like a graph sheet. It really doesn't have to. It's not necessary. I'm going to put in the major ticks as well so that those are easy to count. And then to switch, you go onto this box and you click horizontal axis. We're going to do the same kind of thing, but this time each step is 1, and we're going to go with a 10 also. Excuse me. So now we have something that looks like a graph paper that you've seen before. The last little thing that we need to put in there is something called the trend line. At least it's called trend line on sheets. So click on series. This is where you can change your color if you want to use some other color for your dots. Ooh, that's not good. You could switch it around. That's pretty. And you can change the size of the circles to little tiny ones or bigger ones. You can change to triangles if that makes you happy. It really doesn't matter, but you can switch some stuff around here. And then the last thing that I want you to do is in that same, this is under the series menu, click trend line. Now you'll notice that this trend line does not go to the origin, and it should. Remember, if you have 0 volume, you're going to have 0 mass, and vice versa. This is as good as we can get for sheets, so we're going to be okay with that. The last thing that you want to do on here is where it says label. Instead of none, use equation. And this is going to give us the slope of this line of best fit. You can see 2.42 x plus 0.715. I cannot make the equation change the y-intercept. I don't know why they don't have that on here, but they don't. And I also would prefer not to have the line quite this large, so you can also fix your trend line on here. But that's how you do the line of best fit, the trend line for Google Sheets. Now, all that's great and fine. I'm going to get